I didn't expect that at all.
We can hear you, Chief.
Christian wanted me to join the group.
I don't think he can hear me. He's trying to put the headphones on underneath now. He's gonna break them.
So hey, so I hear you guys play Halo. How was that?
It's pretty good, Chief.
Fucking Christian.
Was that? Hold on, guys. China's calling.
China's calling? I don't know if you can say that. And he's gone.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Episode, 7?
Episode 7.
Wait, I thought we were at 6.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
7. Episode 7. Bored with the boys. We're still going. We're still here.
Somehow.
7 episodes later.
Hope you're still with us. The last few have gotten pretty rough. So if you're still here, thanks.
That means you haven't got bored of us.
Yeah. Well, is that the intention? Is the intention to have them be bored with us, or for us to help them not be bored?
Well,
that can be
just
confusing.
defeats. Yeah, this just defeats the purpose of people.
Well, no, they come to us because they're bored as well, and then they leave not so bored.
We all start bored,
right?
And then hopefully we end less bored.
At least a little bit less.
That's
well.
true.
So let's talk about it. Where topic is today?
Where topic? Well, in keeping with gaming, we wanted to jump in and talk a little bit about esports. Something that we didn't really experience our whole lives, but something that's pretty relevant these days. I think kids growing up playing video games these days have different aspirations than kids growing up when we grew up. Personally, I think when I grew up playing a lot of video games, like when I got into like high school level, I was like, man, I want to like work for a video game company. I want to like make video games, or I want to like maybe test video games. But I feel like even those two are way less like relevant nowadays. And every kid's like, oh, I want to play in like Call of Duty professionally. So it's just like, I don't know. I feel like esports it's how big it is now. It was just very different back in the day. Like, I know we all kind of grew up a little bit different. Me and Chris are probably very similar, but like I know for you guys probably about the same, right? Like no one aspired to like be an esports star because it wasn't really like a thing.
That word wasn't even a thing back then. Esports was something. I don't know exact date, but like before like even online gaming, that's when it mostly started, right? Like Leagues of Legends.
I guess no. I don't think it even was that big. I mean, I know like Asia was like it caught on way before over there.
StarCraft
here, but I still think it wasn't even that big. I feel like more recently.
Yeah, it was mostly like Blizzard games like StarCraft, more like real-time strategy fighting games.
Well, I think it started as like anything that you could play like as like a LAN party type game. So like I remember growing up for like Halo 1. Like there would be places you could go to that would have like 20 TVs set up with a bunch of Xboxes all plugged in, and you would play like this 20-on-20 battle, and it would kind of like esports, but it was like local. So it was like independent little tournaments, and that was like the biggest you could get before like Christian said, like online really, took off. But that was kind of like probably how it all started without like knowing the exact details. But like, one private guy just buying a bunch of TVs, having a decent internet connection, and then just getting a bunch of systems and everyone playing like in the same room but on different consoles and stuff.
Yeah, like it's like kind of been a thing, like always. Yeah, in a way, it just hasn't gotten big as it is now.
It's mostly like I was reading about it. It was like Mario Kart and stuff like that, like Super Nintendo.
Oh, I'm sure, like even just between friends, like it's probably always been like gaming as a sport between like buddies, just like, back in the NES days, Atari days, like drinking beers, like playing like Pac-Man or Pong or something like that, like having a tournament. Like it's kind of the same concept. It's just grown like obviously immensely from there.
From like Evo, things like that. Nintendo Champions. has been around for a while. I think Evo was in the 2000s. I'm not sure.
Like, was there ever like $1 million pot for like someone beating each other in Pong?
No, definitely not.
You're wearing like a sponsored T-shirt, like playing on a little joystick.
That's what I mean. Like, I remember seeing like there was a lot of, like, Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, like, fighting game tournaments, but even those, it wasn't like massive. It was like in a smaller, like, auditorium.
Yeah, like a single place,
people.
single setting.
Yeah.
No, so what do you guys think is? What would you attribute to be like the main reason why it got like so big? Like how it got to be the fact that it's like considered a sport where you have sponsors and literally millions of dollars. Like, why is it so big today? Is it just a fact of like the type of games, like the internet, or like, you know what I mean? Like it could have been like that back in the day. There's no reason why it couldn't have like televised a Halo tournament. It was kind of the same concept. Like what makes it so different today?
I feel like, not that there wasn't competitiveness back in the day, but I feel like we have more ability technology-wise to be competitive. Faster internets, better consoles. Don't want to say better games, but essentially, games you could do more in rather than the older games, and I feel like that kind of inspired people to try to take it to the next level.
I think it's mostly like the evolution of our network, because the more network we had, the more opportunities we had to broadcast. We needed to show everyone, even the world, because most people are cut out from like television and stuff like that and only get certain channels. So internet pretty much evolved it to a much better thing.
True, but I mean, if you think of like modern sports, you know what I mean, like golf, you know what I mean, someone's walking around with like a high def camera filming golf. Like there's no reason.
Well,
like there was
1980s.
Yeah, I mean, probably back then there was no sports. It was football and baseball. Like there was nothing stopping that from happening for video games. But do you think it, like, if you think of it in that sense, it's almost like the acceptance of video games has changed. Like I remember growing up for myself, like people were like, I know like people still talk like, oh, video games are bad, blah blah blah. But I feel like that's kind of come and gone in a sense. Like, but like growing up, like games would come out and like people would be trying to get them banned, and like it was like more of like a like, are video games good or bad? And now I think it's like, because of how easy it is to play, and like you just, you can play on any system, play on your phone, like it's just become a little bit more accepted. So maybe now it's like people are willing to put money against it because like just so many people play it. I feel like that kind of plays a factor into it too.
Yeah, no, I agree. That makes sense. I don't know too, like I don't know if it's kind of a different topic, but like also like the types of games, like I don't know. Some companies now seem to be trying to make a competitive platform when releasing new games in hopes of it becoming almost like an esport type of game.
That's true, yeah.
So that's like changing games themselves as well. So it's like some games probably had competitive factors, but that wasn't their intentions, because that's like how it started, like just multiplayer games. But I feel like that's going to also shape what we see. Like all these battle royales come out at the same time because it's like that's what's big, and like all these Fortnite like tournaments got big, so now everyone's like, well, now we need to do this because that's what's in esports now. So I feel like it's gonna esports itself is going to shape video games.
Yeah, which it definitely has, like esports plus just like online competitiveness. Because I mean, how many games have like a good campaign? Like none.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, some do, but like they get like zero.
We won't go with that.
They don't get that much like effort compared to like you said, like Battle Royale is literally made to be an online game. Like, so I think people are definitely pushing because they see it's like the entertainment industry is still like literally the highest, like one of the highest like grossing industries. So like everyone's trying to like shift somehow into that to get more views, and like all these new games are like following the same concept. Like since I don't know what the first like battle royale type game is, to focus on those for like Fortnite style game. Like how many of those are there out now? It's probably like a ton.
Yeah,
I think what was it, DayZ, H1Z1?
I think both of those were like a mod made by the guy who made PUBG. Yeah, like all those came from the guy, and then they came out PUBG, which was like the like more polished version of those, but it was all the same dude basically who made all those.
I know they used a lot of the Half-Life engine to make a lot of the mods what created the games now these days, because without the Half-Life engine on PC, like a lot of the things wouldn't be here by now. If you've seen the mods for those.
Well, Half-Life, was that Unreal? Was that the Unreal engine, or was that something different?
I think it was the Half-Life engine. Yeah, the Unreal, but the game itself, the basis of it, they actually had mods for it, like Team Fortress, I think, was one of them that came off of it, and Counter-Strike, I think, because they're under the same company, Source, or something like that.
Yeah,
was the?
I mean, I remember Counter-Strike being like huge when I was like in early high school. Like that was like it had like a cult following, or maybe not like esports level, but there was probably like millions of people playing competitively.
Yeah, I feel like Counter-Strike is one of the first like uber competitive games. Because I mean, like you said, Scott, that was like I knew a lot of people who played Counter-Strike.
What is it?
Tried to like be really good at it.
Like CS:GO, that's Counter-Strike, right?
Yeah, that's just the newest one.
Yeah. And that's like literally one of the top like 5 like esports games out there, I think, like right now. That has huge attention. Like I remember seeing videos and stuff of like the players that do that. So obviously Counter-Strike has like survived this whole era of change.
Whoa, what's going on?
I'm losing you.
Losing me?
Yeah. A little bit.
Oh, sorry.
You're normalizing now.
All right. Internet blip.
He became the internet.
Yeah.
I fused with it.
That's what it sounded like from our end.
On the internet.
You're good now.
Must have been those beef sticks.
Those all those Christians beef sticks.
I don't know, what was that last sentence you said? Because it kind of got messed up. I don't know what you said.
I was saying the game CS:GO, it like just shows like how some games can still survive like the evolution of gaming, because like Counter-Strike's been going around forever, and CS:GO is like still one of the top like esports like competitive games out there right now. So like they were able to follow a model that was able to like survive and turn into like competitive thing, but stay and then become like a big esports platform that they are now.
It was Valve.
Yeah, Valve makes.
Yeah. I was thinking, there, because right now I'm looking at something that says like it was also known as Half-Life Counter-Strike, which was the beginning of everything.
So I guess
Half-Life Counter-Strike.
Yeah, a lot of things came off of the Half-Life game itself. They used a lot of the animations, the way it plays, and then they made their own thing, and then it becomes off-brand of something else, and then it gets popular and becomes its own standalone game.
So I guess with that said, do you guys think it's good that esports is so big, like where it's at? I feel like this is a conversation I've had with like a lot of different people, like people from like from different like areas that are like in video games that aren't in video games, like that argue on both sides. Like, being big meaning like the level of money and the level of attention that it gets and that these players get and have to give. Like, do you think it's at a place that's actually like good for society? Like, is this a good way of direction, or is this like kind of a weird thing that happened?
It's more of like a healthy thing in a way, because it's all the people that have been home just playing games, just thinking it's just like an everyday kind of type of thing, having fun. But at the same time, it's kind of credited to yourself as being a gamer, and they use that to actually, make money off of it, which is pretty cool. So,
well, that's when you say like, is it good? That just, I guess that depends on good for who. Obviously, it's good for entertainment industry. Obviously, it's good for the people playing the games. Is it good for the future life of games itself? Maybe, maybe not. It brings in more money, possibly, to game companies. But then, what are they going to do with that money? Are they going to make more competitive-based games, or are they going to do something new? It's like, how are they going to do that? So that's hard, but.
Well, it's like comparing it to sports, like regular sports. Like it's talent wise. Like someone can't be good at football or baseball or hockey, and the only thing that they have is playing games. And they're like, oh wow, we actually made this into a sport.
Yeah, well, I guess
esports.
I guess when I say good, it's like, do we think it should be at that level? I guess I don't know. I've always been one to argue that like the entertainment industry is like, I mean, you get value from it, but the level of like payment and stuff that some of these people get is just like crazy. You know what I mean? Like, should a professional basketball player make $20 million a year? You know what I mean? Like,
I think, though, I never really like that, but it's all the people that watch it. It's because of the people who watch. It's not up to them. It's just because of the demand of all the people. I don't watch any sports, so I can complain about it. I think all the sports players get paid too much, but I don't buy jerseys. I don't watch football games. I don't watch that stuff. I'm not contributing to their pay, but all the billions and millions of people watching it are the ones who are paying them. Yeah. If no one watched it, they wouldn't get paid. Yeah. So it's the same thing with esports. It's not like this like a game company just decided to like push it. It's just people are watching, and that's it's really nice.
Yeah, it's entertainment value. So if it gets to that level of entertainment, and like these teams that are winning are making millions of dollars, like some people argue like, oh, they're making millions of dollars playing games, but it's like, people argue on both sides. It's like, yeah, they're playing games, but it's like, sitting on a computer playing a game, what's different for them working some random desk job doing some marketing thing? You know what I mean? It's like they're bringing value in an entertainment sense, and like they make more, but like I said, it's based on the demand to watch, like, which, I mean, we've seen like Twitch and stuff like that get so big and people just seem to love watching. So it's like esports, I feel like it's just only going to grow because of people's love to like watch people playing games. And that's like what that is. Like that, I feel like that as a organization will grow, and you'll see like an NFL type thing probably pop up now. Cause now it's like mostly game oriented, I believe. So it's like each game will probably put on their own like competition. I'm not positive on that, but like, there might be like a Counter-Strike type thing, and like, the Cloud9 and all these different like esports company would just like sign up and they would compete in that game's one, and they would play that one game. But I don't think there's like any sort of like league-based thing. I mean, there might be some small ones, but there's nobody kind of big in the space yet, I think.
Yeah. I don't think, I think it's game specific, and I think each game kind of has the following and like certain players. Like obviously a lot of these players that are good on one game are good on most of them, but you see like certain players
they have their games.
Well, I know like you bring up like the organizations like FaZe, Cloud9, Optic. I mean, they have like teams that
play. Those are like the teams.
They have like teams that are, dedicated team to Fortnite, dedicated team to COD, dedicated team to whatever game. But like you said, there's not really like a league, like you said, the NFL, there's not like 32 teams, and they're not like playing regular season games over the internet, It's like,
but the NFL also all plays just football. They're playing one game. So it's kind of the same thing.
But that's a weird...
You don't see football players playing basketball.
But is it like but that's a weird line of like for gaming, so it's like you're using the same it's like the same skill set, like like a keyboard or mouse. Is that the, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's not the same, but it's like are the tools that you're using, you know what I mean? Like the comparison is very different, but like is there a line between someone playing multiple games or like someone using a basketball versus a football? You know what I mean? Like how like would you classify like, ESG esports games as like, the NFL for esports? You know what I mean? Is it like all games? Like then how does that even work? Would that ever even become a thing? Like would there ever be a single thing that would kind of go over everything? I don't know.
I mean, there might be like a channel, like maybe down the line, maybe like a network channel or a whatever, like these ESPN, like there might be a channel that broadcasts like all the competitions.
Yeah, G4 used to do that.
Yeah, ESPN is starting to do that. Not necessarily solely video games, obviously.
Well, they do like the finals, right? Like they did like the Street Fighter final, I think, because that was like that had like one of the highest grossing like what's like the word for it, like just streaming like events or something like that ever. It was like I think it was like one of the Street Fighter or the Tekken or one of those finals, and it was like, man, like I forget what numbers they were, but they were pulling like ridiculous like modern sport numbers for like an event.
Yep.
I know they tried to broadcast it on regular network like NBC or ABC, the Evo Championships.
Rocket League.
Was that one? I'm not sure.
They did Rocket League. I think they still do. On, I don't know the channel, but I know they show it whatever channel it is.
I think the problem with that is like we're also in a divide of TV right now where like network TV isn't as relevant as it once is. So it's like the people who probably are watching network television are probably not the generation that esports is targeted towards. So it's like you could see either a new streaming service or like someone like Amazon or Netflix like pick up a a network or channel or something like that that does dedicate to that, and then they become like a sponsor or something. Like that's probably more realistic. I mean, it could already be happening, but
the funny thing is, like, people still watch sports on regular broadcast networks
because that's like where it's available. You know what I mean?
Like, wouldn't it be fair, or wouldn't it be like logical just to put it on anything like that?
You could, but it's different because sports, like, you're watching mostly live events. Like, yeah, people watch events from different times, but if you're watching a football game, you're watching a football game going on right now. Or like an esports thing, like it might have been like taped on a different date, and if you're like a 12-year-old kid, you know, you might not be up at the right time or available to watch it, so that might be something you would just cast on a streaming device or something. So like, I don't know, I feel like that's a little bit different. Like, you would think a sports network would be like, ESPN might pick it up, but like I said, like your audience is probably a younger generation. Maybe not all of it, but like I feel like the people that watch modern sports now on ESPN is probably not the same crowd that would watch esports.
It's like,
no, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell.
It might be. I mean, it's hard to tell people's interests. People are into all different things.
But... yeah, I would say not the entire population.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go out of my way to watch esports. I have watched it, but I generally watch, you know, like physical contact sports like football, hockey, basketball, baseball. And I like watching people play video games on Twitch, but I don't think I would go out of my way to watch an esport.
I think it,
or whatever.
I don't know. I think it'd be. I could see the entertainment in it though, absolutely. Just like any other competition. Like, I feel like it'd be just as entertaining as Twitch. I haven't really watched.
But so that's like an interesting point too, because people are really big on Twitch, not because of how good they are, but a lot of times because of like how funny they are and their personality. So it's like, it's kind of a divide of like, esports is like, no one's talking, no one's blinking, everyone is just nasty at the game. And, yeah, and like you're watching from an entertainment value because of like, oh man, like look how good they are, like all like the little secrets and stuff they know in the game. Whereas like you watching Twitch and this guy's just like fumbling through the game, but he's like making you laugh or he's like showing you cool stuff. So it's like, I feel like even that audience might be different because like Tim said, it sounds like it's entertaining, but it's still kind of like okay, I kind of just want to watch something funny, not like hardcore first person shooter, dying, like everyone dying.
It's more for like those like big moments and the intensity of the esports, like
especially Super Smash. That was a really big one that like a lot of people watch because of, like the moves that people make and all those like crazy little things where they fall off the stage and then they just do some crazy move and they're like, oh my god, like,
yeah, you're watching people play to a level like you can't play to. So it's like with regular sports. You're watching like, you know, this guy who's like 6'10", just like dunking the ball, and it's like you can't do that. You know what I mean? So it's like esports is similar because you're watching people playing that you just
their level of talent.
Yeah, the level of talent is way better.
Way better.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same. It's the same thing too, because like, you know, they practice in and whatever. It takes time to get there.
You should do like a kaiju sports. So that'll be awesome.
What does that even mean?
I don't know where that
like watching those big Godzilla creatures play sports. What?
Or fight each other. I don't know.
Kaiju basketball is weird.
There you go. We just made it a sport.
with one half of that is fictional.
True, you can all play it in the rhymes, but it'll sound pretty cool eventually.
Eventually, I guess.
Pacific Rim, here we go.
Eventually, it'll sound cool.
And then we'll be like, oh, it's still fake.
Yeah.
This guy is crazy.
Oh my god, Christian, those beef sticks really did you in.
Yeah, those are laced.
They're legit beef sticks, maybe.
Too legit to quit.
Well, back to esports.
Back to esports. So, let's say you were like 12 right now. How would you view esports? Like, would that be something like, oh shit, I'm not gonna get a job, I'm gonna like throw Mountain Dew on the table and just go hard at this game and try to get called by FaZe, get called by Cloud9, get called by like some company and like play video games, make millions of dollars, and like, you know what I mean, like have this, like, you can do that stuff when you're like a teenager, you know what I mean? They look for the kids that have the hours to put in. Like, do you feel like, based on how you used to play and like how you felt then, do you feel like with that same attitude you had, would you be striving in a way to like get to esports? Like, do you think it would change your mind at all for how you played and or like, went after like a job and that kind of thing?
Yeah.
My own personal experience from myself being 12 years old, I was never allowed to have the internet. So,
well, obviously it's
I get what you're
different.
saying though.
He's saying literally like
if you were 12 today, like if you just
like 12, like you're not back in the day, but
yeah, like
now.
if like today's technology, today's games, today's esports world as it is, if you were like that's, I don't know, 12 is an example where it's like, you're old enough to like really get competitive and not too old where you're like whatever, but I don't know, like 12, 13, you know what I mean? Like it's hard to say, but like based on how you play, like were you that into it that you'd be like, oh shit, like e-gaming, like esports, like this is where I want to be? Or would it be just kind of like, oh, I'm gonna do my thing and whatever?
At first I thought like something like Halo would be something I would do because I was really good back then, but now I suck. So
well, that's not the question. So it's like back then.
No. I'm saying like something like that would push me forward because I loved playing Halo, and Halo is one of the things that got me into competitiveness. Like I would go to people's houses and just face them, see how good they are, and then I would use those skills and eventually like play the high level people that are playing online. But yeah, I honestly wouldn't.
I feel like it's a hard question, kind of, because like obviously
you don't know, but just as an example.
I feel like probably I would just because like when I played games, it wasn't like there wasn't esports. I was just playing games to play them. But then I can also remember getting mad at games and trying my hardest, and people and like your parents come in like what are you doing? Like everyone probably has a story of them saying like oh you're not losing money or you're not betting money on this.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so it's like why
do you care?
I was playing like that even when esports wasn't a thing. So if it is a thing, I probably would be playing like that. Because it's always like if you're a gamer, you have that competitive thing in you, regardless if it's money or not money. You can be just playing with your friends and you want to win. So
it's like life or death every game.
So if there actually was an avenue where we could do that, I could see the appeal in it. Being a younger kid doing that, absolutely,
definitely. I think I'd kind of go the same way. If I was 12 now, and with esports being huge, I think I would lean the same way.
Yeah.
So what would be your ideal choice?
Well, so before that, I was going to say along the same lines. So a huge avenue for esports today is people get noticed on things like Twitch. Yeah. Do you think, again, back to then, when you were playing games, would you have been a person that would have wanted to been a public facing like figure like on Twitch to be noticed on Twitch? Because you know what I mean? Like if you're just like some like silent person, like you're probably not going to get noticed. Like even if you're the best in the world, like no one cares. Like you have to be a person to be known.
On Twitch.
Yeah, so it's like you have to. That's how you get discovered. So like, on the same vein of you taking it seriously, would you have had this again hard question, but like, do you think you would have had the mindset to be able to like be that personality and play on Twitch and put that effort in on both sides?
As a 12-year-old,
I guess I'm not 12. I don't know. Maybe a little bit, a little bit later. But you know what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? Like it's not. It's more than just playing the game. It's like to be that you got to like chase that path. So it's like, would it be more like just being competitive, or you think like that could have been something you might have been interested in?
From the Twitch aspect of it, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's like to me, it's a harder question than the esports one.
True.
For me, I feel like when I first heard about Twitch, even like say 5 years ago, like I wanted to be a Twitch star, I guess you could say, like I wanted to be big. I kind of started it a couple of years ago, not really knowing what I was getting into. And then of course I got a real job, and then I had to make money, pay bills and all that shit. So
life
I didn't really have the time to dedicate it to being, huge. So I feel like that's another thing too. Like you either have to start out just grinding, trying to be successful in Twitch, and then also whatever competitive game you're trying to play, or life's gonna take you down the get a job, get a house path. You know what I mean?
Yeah, situation plays a lot of part into that too. Like you said, if you're in a part where you need to like progress your life and you can't really like stop doing that, you basically make a choice. Do you want it or you don't? Because I mean, there's people, I've heard stories, people like lose family members and lose all their friends because they went after that, and it's like it sucks, but it's like, well, I mean, that's almost in a way like how you have to be successful. You get, especially if you're not young and you can't just like spend all day doing it. It's like you gotta drop everything else and put the time into it. Yeah, like anything you said.
That's what I mean. We get kind of back to that when we're comparing sports in a way. It's like any professional thing, really, or not necessarily, because you can be like professional 9 to 5, but like any dream kind of job or any job that requires a lot of work, you just got to
like specific skill set stuff. Yeah.
So, like regardless, it just seems like it's a little more like, because it's video games, so it still has that kind of like
that kid feeling, like that's a kid thing. Yeah.
But it's the same way. Like if you like these people do put in a lot of work that a lot of people aren't willing to do.
Millions of dollars doing it.
Yeah, but it's like, so I mean, it's like that's the problem. It's like I think people like devalue the esports players, and it's like, yeah, it's a lot of money for their age, but it's like you also see like people coming out of college that are good at basketball signing like $20 million contract, $100 million contracts, and it's like, is that warranted? It's like, yeah, they're also good at their craft. It's like, what makes it good for one and not the other? Is it just that that's too much money in general? Then we need to bring the bar down for everybody. Or is it they just still devaluing like someone sitting on a computer? Yeah, I think it's still kind of I think it's still that.
As like you said, sort of a kid's just a goofy kind of playing with your friends thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Especially people like 40 and older. You know,
like Gen X people and stuff. Yeah,
they just look at it like, what the hell are you guys doing? Why don't you have like a real job?
A real job.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like they need a real job to get all the equipment, get all the things that you need. So, like, you can't start off just out of nothing, because then you would have to pay for what you need to eat, like everything, bed to sleep in, a house or apartment, or whatever. Like, basically, you have to live with your mom if you want to be an esports person.
Yeah, but a lot of these people coming out, like Scott said, the younger kids who are doing that.
Yeah, they have the time.
They have the time. They don't have any commitments, really. Per se, so if they want to go for it, they can devote their time to it.
And that's why you probably see more of them, because once you reach like 25, 30, 35, whatever, it's like you can't quit your life to get really good at them. You could start playing, and maybe there's plenty of like Twitch stars and all these guys, but like they put the time in to do that. They're not necessarily out here trying to like be the best person at their game ever, because then they wouldn't be able to be a personality or something. So I feel like the younger kids, that's why you see so much of it, because they just have the time to put in it. They're quick. They're sharp. They're still sharp in their head because life hasn't really got a hold of them yet with the bills and all the nonsense life has. So
yeah, I think that's definitely a huge part of it, is the time you have available and the time you're willing to take to put into the craft, whatever it may be.
Yeah,
I think esports in general is just, if you want to be good at it, it's very demanding. I mean, like if you're trying to pull in, 10 G's a week or whatever, I don't know the physical numbers these people make, but if you're trying to pull in big money like that, you really gotta bunker down and just do it all day long, every day, consistently,
Yeah. It's hard. Like thinking about it, like you said, like it'd be like, oh yeah, you always kill competitive. Like that would be like a cool dream. Like instead of creating a game, you play the game and you're just the best at the game. Like who doesn't want to be the best at something? But like, seeing stories of like, I don't know all their names, but like, some of the guys that are good at like Rainbow Six Siege or something like that. And it's like, I remember seeing one thing, a guy like played some tournament and they thought he was cheating for like having some keyboard shortcut, something. And he was like disqualified, even though he was like the best player. And he spent like 18 months playing consistently, like streaming, doing all stuff, just like proving he was really good, and then competed in the same competition again like 2 years later and ended up doing the same thing, beating everybody. And this time, like, they were like, oh, okay, he's definitely not cheating. So it was like he literally just
too good.
Yeah, he was like too good that they thought he was cheating, and then he just kept going like 2 years every day playing one game. So it's like,
that's crazy.
And that's like, and it was like, oh, it's so crazy, but it's like he's just that good at the game, and it's like, is that weird? Is that crazy? Or is it like,
no, I mean,
it's like,
yeah, I guess.
Was he actually cheating the first time, or was he just nasty?
No, I think he was just that good. It was like a really weird thing where they thought he had like some of his keys were mapped to do like more than one thing. So he was like obviously in PC you can do like some crazy stuff. So I'll just send you the story later, but it was a really interesting video. But yeah, like he basically for 2 years just proved he was nasty, and they were like, oh, okay, he probably wasn't cheating considering it wasn't like real concise, but it was like a full like team battle from like a Cloud9 type esports battle where it was like millions of dollars on the line, and he was like disqualified and then just grinded it out for like 2 years. But it's like, to get to that point, he was probably doing the same thing for like 3 years before that. So it's like, imagine playing the same game every day for like 5 years.
Yeah,
I don't know what I mean. It's like, that's so crazy. So it's like,
I mean, if you like it, if you can do it and you like it, that's fine. Like, do it. Like, if he was fine, if he wanted to do that, that's fine. But like, I don't know if I could do the same game. Like,
I get bored of games, so like, I don't think I could do that.
Like, we all have our favorite games to go back to, but we take breaks and we play other things and we replay them. It's not like we're playing it straight on.
Yeah, so I feel like when you see something like that, it definitely, you either look at it two ways, like, oh man, like, you know, he's a loser, he played so much of that one game, but it's like, okay, but like, we're all saying like, oh, we all like video games, but none of us could do that. So it's like, you actually kind of have to look at it and be like, that's impressive, like that he was that good, and like, not just that good because like, oh, he's good at moving a mouse, like he was dedicated, put the time in, and like, it's impressive. And if he were to win and win a lot of money, it's like, the dude put time in, regardless of what he put time into against. Like, he put solid time and became really good at something, and the entertainment value was there, and he won the money. I think people just, it's like jealousy too. They like, oh, I play video games and I don't win $1 million. It's like, yeah, but you suck compared to like that guy. So it's like, I feel like that comes into play a lot too, is people like, they think it devalues them when like a 16-year-old wins $2 million. It's like, I'm 45 and I you know, make $20 an hour or something, and it's like, it seems like
he was 16, he played Fortnite, he won the tournament, won $3 million.
Yeah, and like it's, people see that and they like get all upset, but it's like, I don't know if it's like a weird devaluation of video games, but also like just like general like human like jealousy, I think, because they think it's like just some easy thing and he's like winning the money, but people don't see like the years of grind, regardless of the age. Like, when you were 12, were you playing every day a video game, or would you like playing basketball or going to a friend's house? Like, this kid wasn't doing that. So people don't see the backside, which I think is why a lot of people don't understand it. So hopefully, as some of that like gets more public, people accept it more, because I definitely see it getting bigger.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot to me, it's like I would go back and play like Super Smash, because that's one of the games that it's like a really good game to go back to, and you can actually like improve what you did before and get better at it. Because I've seen some of my friends that I used to work at my old job that actually played like Super Smash Brothers all the time, and then like they would just leave it after a couple of years and then go back and be like, yeah man, I used to like do tournaments and stuff, and like, and I actually played with one of them and he actually kicked my ass. I thought it was good. But
yeah, people who practice a game a lot tend to be better than somebody who doesn't.
Yeah.
But then it kind of, so it kind of like brings back the point, like I was saying earlier, where now it's kind of shaping the games. But it's like, now is it taking away what the game was supposed to be in the first place, which is like a game and fun? And is it taking out, like, is that removed from it now?
Yeah, like, are they creating a game to create like a set of keys that people can get good at? So it's like, oh, we create a game, it's fun, but like, we're gonna see who become the best at it, versus like, oh, we're gonna create this game that's just like everyone's gonna love playing it. So yeah,
I feel like esports is definitely molding video game companies now to make just competitive games. They're still fun, but they're only fun to the people who
are really good at them.
More fun to the people who are really good at them.
Yeah, there's a level of when people become too good, and then the game is just like, oh man, like, it sucks to the people that can't pass that line, because maybe you play once a week or whatever, and it's like, you just never can be as good as these people that are playing all the time, and it's like, you end up not being able to play or want to play because it's like, you suck at it. Nobody likes playing something they suck at.
The Call of Duty.
I feel like some of that, like, if you can't necessarily beat those guys, then maybe you want to watch those guys, you know, and that
I can say that
to Twitch, you know,
that's true. Yeah, it's like good strategy. If they force the good people to like excel, and then the bad people stop playing and then watch the good people. So it kind of like pushes everyone into that direction. So that's an interesting thought too.
Yeah, esports is it's quite esports now compared to like even 5 years ago. It's just like, it's taken off.
Yeah, it's a recent thing.
What's interesting too is, like, you know, we had our episode, we talked about video games, and then we talked about like tabletop, and then like, you know, Magic specifically. So that just kind of popped in my head. So like, they've probably had like hardcore like global Magic tournaments for like years. But like, if you're not in the Magic community, you probably have zero idea that these even happen. But like today, like every random person knows probably, you know, in general terms, what esports is. Right. So it's like, it's kind of weird that like the video game, I guess Magic is obviously just one game, but like, right, it just seems like they're very different, even though they're both basically the same thing. It's people getting really good at like a game and then playing at like this like larger tournament level. Like, why is it that those games are so specific and like video games is just such a larger generic thing? Is it just because of, you know, video games is video games? It encompasses so much more.
I think it's just a different platform and the way the game is played altogether. Like Magic, it's yes, like you do need to be good and you need strategy, but at the same time, you just buy the best deck. I mean, that's not all of it. That's
not the only thing. Yeah,
need to know.
That's true.
But like, it's more when a video like it's even, but it's not even. Like you have different decks, people playing different things. But a video game, it's like who's better. Yeah, like we have the same thing. We're playing on the same thing, 1v1 in a sense. Like who's better at this game?
I guess like you said, Magic is more like preparing. But video game is like every time you sit down, you have to be at your best. Where Magic, it's like you could draw like a land every time and have the worst game, but it's not you having a bad game, it's your deck having a bad game.
Yeah.
And like video games, you can't just like, oh, my mouse didn't work today, that had a bad game. Like you can't have that. Like that just can't happen. So that's true. It's different.
Sometimes like you could blame the internet a little bit, or like you're paying to a certain server.
True,
yeah,
like that. But in general, kind of like Tim said, it's basically like, all right, who's better? This is it.
Yeah. Or like Magic is like who got the better hand. Is it like a weird matchup? Is it a matchup like, oh, my deck actually matches up just better? It's like
there's, like I said, there's other strategy behind it. Obviously, like that's about like your deck in your hand's like half of it.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of like poker. Like it's like your hand, but then you got to know what to do with it. You got to read other people. You have to predict what they're going to do. So there's a lot more behind it. Yeah, but
it's a different set of skills.
Yeah.
The crazy thing about Magic is like it's pretty much the same game. It's not like you're playing, for example, like for a video game, Call of Duty. It's always different. But Magic, it's the same game, but with new cards. And it's always updating newer.
I mean, you could argue that for a video game too. Like Call of Duty is still a first-person shooter that has the same controls, but now you might have like a jetpack instead of like a musket. You know what I mean? So it's like it's kind of the same thing as like adding new cards, but it's still like the same controls. Because Magic, if they add like new types, like you got to learn the new types. They might interact and break a hole in their deck. So it's, I mean, again, it's very, very different. But I mean, they do evolve, but maybe in different, like slower paths.
But it's still Magic the Gathering. Like it's not like Magic the Gathering 2 or like Magic the Gathering like 25. Like it's been the same thing, like Magic the Gathering.
So to break that down more, I mean, they have Magic the Gathering beyond, what is it, Theros or something?
Yeah, they have the sets.
They have sets that are individually different, like
kind
of like what Scott was saying, new cards, new this, new that. It's still the same, you know, Magic the Gathering, but to get more in depth to it, they break it down. It's like
a DLC.
It's like seasons in Fortnite, or
it's the longest DLC ever.
Call of Duty, you know.
Well, each one is a new DLC. It's just
that's the format. But this thing,
that's
like,
cool. That's a cool analogy.
But the thing is, like, it's one of the longest ones that still has like been updating. Like, for example, what you said, DLCs. Like, it always has something new every time. But it's still Magic the Gathering. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I mean, like Scott said, you could still say Call of Duty's always been Call of Duty since the very first Call of Duty. You could say Modern Warfare is just a DLC of the very first Call of Duty that came out. It's the same thing.
You're a soldier. You're always like a soldier with a gun trying to kill people.
Yeah.
It's like you might have different
graphics are updated.
Yeah, you might have like different tools. It's the same thing like Magic. It's like you're still a player trying to defeat the other player. Now you have a green deck that has X spells in it, but like now Call of Duty, it's like you have a grenade or you have a laser weapon. I think we're getting to like a whole different comparison.
You can't compare everything.
Yeah, but just for like this conversation specifically, I think those match up. But I was just saying, like in terms of like esports, it's weird to see like how different those, because like the card games have been around for like so much longer, and it's weird to see like that those types of arenas aren't the same. Like obviously like poker and whatever, but like esports is just growing like crazy. But then it's like something like Magic, which is still really popular, is still just like really niche on that like tournament level.
It's kind of weird. It's just like
Like aside from saying it's different.
I don't know if it's. I mean, obviously, it's going to be more entertaining for some people, but I don't know. If
True. Yeah. Entertainment value. Yeah.
I just don't know. Like half, like I said earlier, like half the game is strategy. So is it just like, I know people like watching poker, but like that's my another thing. But like, is it fun just to see two people sitting there, like just like staring at a table thinking? Like, it's not as entertaining. Like,
true. I mean, people watch
like chess tournaments.
Yeah, they watch like Magnus Carlsen play chess, and they're like amazed.
That's what I mean. Like, yeah, that's everyone's different. Obviously, some people are going to find it more entertaining.
But there's way less people watching chess than esports as well, too. So you're kind of comparing the same categories. It's like esports is taking off. Like it really is just from like a value standpoint. Like it's more entertaining to watch. It's more exciting to watch than these other things. So which is why that's not taking off. Those aren't taking off as fast.
Yeah. It's more like competitive stuff. Like anything you can get competitive in, it can become something that you can watch.
I feel like, too, for us specifically, I mean, when we were growing up, I think this kind of relates to all four of us. Video games were a thing, but I feel like I knew more people who would rather play Yu-Gi-Oh! Than go on and play, like, Halo 1 or something, you know? I feel like people bought more, like, Pokemon cards, Digimon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, Magic the Gathering cards. Like, I guess in my own circle, I knew more people who would rather do that than go, you know, over each other's house and play video games. We'd rather sit at a table and play like silly little games or whatever, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess mine was similar too. It was probably like split, but it was like the games I grew up playing weren't always like competitive. Like Halo didn't come out until I was like a little bit older, and that was obviously like a competitive 4-screen play. But before that, you're like, you know, switching controllers, like taking turns because you don't always have like competitive type games. So like that didn't really happen for a while. So it really was like just like a split option. Like, oh, you want to play a game or you want to play a video game? Because it wasn't like, oh, do you want to play against each other in a video game? Because that didn't always happen. Where now, I mean, you can't really do that unless you have like at each other's different houses or anything. But yeah, it was definitely like a different set of games. But that's like to Tim's point, like games are being built for that now. Where back in the day, they might be for like single player play or maybe like one guy at your house type of thing, not like being crazy at a skill set to face hundreds of people online.
I feel like too back then the cultures was a little different too. Like I remember at some point, like if you were into video games, it was almost kind of like a nerdy thing. Even or even card games too. It was like a nerdy thing. So
absolutely,
it's like, that's completely different now as well. That's like not the case at all anymore.
Well, you're like, oh, I play Call of Duty, oh, nerd.
Yeah, it's like you played video games, you were like a nerd. Like it's like what's like.
Now it's like
think about that.
It's like, oh, I play Call of Duty. Like, oh, you play professionally?
Yeah.
If you were to choose something professionally, will you be something like more of the card related, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic the Gathering, or would you play something more of like Call of Duty or Fortnite or any RTS?
Like, I probably suck at all of them, so I would say like I probably like an FPS because I think what adds, just to back up too, I think it adds to like entertainment value for like first person shooters because I think people value like speed and that kind of thing because like that's on a lot of stuff like you know, like people like watching people who cook. It's like, okay, the people that are fun to watch cook, like they cut real fast or they do this real fast. So when you watch like something like a first person shooter, it's like the guys are being like so fast, so it seems like so
He's
crazy,
too fast.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like that's like I think that's what adds to like the competitiveness because like you don't watch a Magic match as like, man, that guy played that game so fast. You know what I mean? Like you're watching from like a strategic standpoint. Even like chess, you're watching strategically, but you watch like
all depends
on the
video
game thing. It's like you're like, oh wow, that guy's like so fast. So he's jumping and killing really fast. Like it's like I feel like it's a speed thing. People enjoy like seeing like how fast people are and like how quick that they've become with a skill set.
What the top level looks like.
Yeah.
Or what the people who are trying to achieve that level, you know.
Yeah, because you can definitely tell the difference. Like he said, if you're watching chess and you watch like a really good player versus a bad player, it kind of look the same in a sense. They're just moving pieces.
Yeah, and like they might be a little faster in their move, but it's like it's still just moving pieces. He's not like blah, 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 blah. He's not like he plays the fastest. It's like he's just the best at it. Where like video games, I feel like first person is very entertaining because it is who got the first shot off. You know what I mean? And like that, I feel like that is what people really like the quickness and that kind of thing. Or same thing with fighting games,
or the crazy tomahawk ricochets that they get in one game. They're like, oh my god, look at that! It just ricocheted off the bus, hit lamppost, and just hit him in the head.
Yeah, they all talk like that too. It's crazy.
Yeah,
speak of a pitch like that. That's very.
That's every teenager. They just have that high pitched squeal.
Well, yeah, I gotta bring out puberty when it comes up to 12-year-olds.
Let's ask these questions pre or post puberty.
You distracted me with your voice. Now I don't remember what I was gonna say.
Yeah. I forget what the last thing we were talking about was.
I don't know. That was a distracting voice.
Kaiju battles.
Yeah.
No,
kaiju battles.
Let's do this. Start our league. Let's go.
He said Christian was saying like, what kind of game would you want to play? Like, you know, be really good at a card game, or be really good at like FPS.
I feel like there's more like versatility in video games in a sense. Like, yeah, it's the same. Like you said, Call of Duty, it's like the same, you know, map and stuff. But you're playing against another player, and each player has different strategies. Where yes, in cards that can be a thing, but the cards are always going to be the same to an extent.
Yep.
So I feel like there's more versatility, and as more people play, people think about different ways to play the game. As opposed to like Magic, you're still within that rule set. You still have to play certain cards. So I feel like, and then if a new or different first-person shooter comes out, you can adapt those skills to a new first-person shooter. Whereas Magic is Magic. If new card games come out, it's not going to be remotely close to Magic. It's a completely different thing.
I remember how like RTS was like the big thing, like StarCraft, Command and Conquer,
the bird's eye games,
World of Warcraft,
not World of Warcraft, Warcraft.
Yeah, the original Warcraft.
Yeah, the original Warcraft. Like those were like the top tier games on the PC world, and at the time. But like Counter-Strike and all them were in the mix into it. But those are a little bit older. But RTS was like a big thing, and then MOBAs came out of nowhere. Like
I definitely played like those like Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3 like online with other people, but like no one would watch that. Like if that was around, I mean it's still around today, but like the esports would have never picked that kind of stuff up because you're just watching someone like build an army. Oh, my army's facing your army. It's like it's very slow.
I've seen fast-paced StarCraft. Like I've seen people play in fast-paced. Like it's ridiculous how fast they can build like a group of like I'm gonna say like humans or something like that out of the barracks, and they would just throw them out there fast, and then you're trying to battle with what you got already, and then you're getting destroyed, and then there's another team strategizing coming down from a different type of the map, and it just gets nuts.
But is it? I feel like that's weird though, because is that like ruining like the game? Where like first person shooter and that kind of stuff is like meant to be fast, that kind of stuff, but like watching that for StarCraft, is that like, oh, this sucks? Like,
it all depends on the mindset. Like there's a lot of people,
very depressing if you were on the other end.
Yeah.
Well, it all depends on the type of games you like and what you really like the most. And sometimes you might want to watch that more.
Yeah, everyone's into different things.
Yeah, so like fighting games, I would watch that too, because and if anything, I wouldn't watch shooters as much. I would watch more fighting games because it's more fast paced to like do all these combos and like, oh man, this guy just did an uppercut and then he automatically just hit him in the gut and just fell off the stage and fatality.
It's a very specific example.
I think out of all the games, I think those types of games are top, like the strategy kind of not third person, but the
bird's eye,
yeah, like RPG. What are they called? I don't know, whatever.
It's like a top down.
I've never been a huge fan of those kind of games anyway, so I wouldn't watch them. I think they're boring to play, so I'm not gonna watch them. I'm not gonna watch them if I don't enjoy playing those games.
It was a thing back then, but like not as popular as it was. Like there's still people that are like a little bit older, like me and Scott. Like we might like go back and play. Like right now, they just remastered Command and Conquer, and like I would actually go back and go play that. Just because we used to love that type of game. I mean,
everyone likes different things, but I feel like maybe it's like an attention span too. It's just like I feel like the human race has like a smaller attention span. Battle royales and those types of things are like they're quick and easy to digest. You're not like, what's this guy building? What's he doing? You're just like, oh shit, this guy's killing this guy, killing. Oh, game's over. Nice, that guy won. So I don't know. Maybe that plays like a factor into too, like the types of games that are creating, the types of games that people like to watch. So it's like I feel like it's all shifting into that like type of thing. It might evolve again, but I feel like that's like where people are now, like short, quick, sweet, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's the thing with esports.
Yeah, that's just everything. Just Instagram and Facebook and social media and just every technology right now is like a quick, like
quick entertainment, easy to digest entertainment.
And it's like if you don't grab that person right away, they're gonna lose interest. So you have to grab them and keep them there. So I think that's definitely the case.
All right.
Nice.
That was good.
That was a good one. So to wrap it up, we're all sad that we can't be esports stars.
Yeah.
But we are playing a kaiju battle.
Well, I don't think we're playing a kaiju battle.
No.
Yeah. Well, maybe in a little while we'll realize how fun it is. Whatever.
No, it wasn't even. It was how cool it sounds.
Oh, cool. How cool it sounds.
Oh god, here we go.
Chief's back.
Oh boy.
Master Chief.
Can you hear us, Chief?
No. All right, guys. I gotta let you know. But one thing is, Halo's always gonna be #1 in the esports world. So I'm just letting you guys know before I leave. So screw you guys.
I thought that was gonna be the sponsored segment. That's always how it happened in the videos.
All right, 7. 7.
I thought 7 was just this.
It's just always this. We're internally, episode high five.
Whoa,
watch some fingers, bro.
Yeah, me.
No, it's the wrong ones.
Yeah.
No, wrong ones.
Bring Chief back.
Yeah.
I like Chief better.
Poor Christian. All right. Well, episode 7 in the books. We'll see you in the next one.
Stay tuned for number 8.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.